like we always do at this time, we got a job turkey at the bottom of our screen. Welcome aboard, Randy. I'm gonna let you introduce him because he wants to cut me. He wants to cut me ever so slowly. Randy, please introduce our guest.
So, if you're watching on Twitter or YouTube, on the bottom of the screen, it's my brother Joe Cruz Jr., co-CEO of Hoops in the Sun Summer League at Orchard Beach in the Bronx. Follow him on IG and Twitter at both Hoops in the Sun and J Cruz CEO. Joe, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Pleasure to have you guys here with me. And I'm here for Denny Blanco. Denny Blanco. Bring me Denny Blanco. A lot has changed over a week, buddy.
And you can follow me on both IG and Twitter at Randy J. Cruz, RENDY, the letter J C RUZ. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube.com/Cruise Control Podcast, also at ballislife.com. So, Denny Blanco, Joe Cruz, we know the All-Star reserves. We know the entire roster now for the NBA All-Star game, which takes place in about a week and a half up in Cleveland, Ohio. So, when you go on Twitter and you're out and about, you see who makes the reserves. And, obviously every single year it's like someone got snubbed. This guy should have made it. But then it's also like, all right, you got to take somebody out. So obviously these all-star rosters we never agree with them. We always feel a certain way about it, which provides good conversation and good banter. So for those who don't know, the Eastern Conference went like this. And give me 1 second. I thought I had it, but here we go.
I have it.
All right, Eastern Conference. We have – go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead.
Hit it.
Eastern Conference, well, for starters, the starters are Trae Young, Kevin Durant, Giannis, Joel Embiid, and DeMar DeRozan. KD probably will be out, so there'll be a replacement for him. Mm-hmm. Reserves, James Harden, Jason Tatum, Zach LaVine, Fred VanVleet, Jimmy Butler, Chris Middleton, and Darius Garland, who is a Cavalier, so he'll be the hometown favorite. So those are your Eastern Conference reserves. We'll start there. So, Joe, I'll go to you first. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who are you more leaning towards saying, you know what? Not saying he's not an all-star, but I thought this guy or these guys should have made it.
Right. So I definitely feel that Darius Garland was a great pick for the All-Star game, not only because it's at his hometown, but I do think that with Colin Sexton going down and how successful the Cleveland Cavaliers have been this year, and surprisingly enough, a decent team in the East, I'm okay with Darius Garland. I know Denny Blanco already coming at me, but I'm okay with that pick. I'm okay with that pick. Listen,
you get to the
I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
He's over 20 points a game. He's top 5 in the East, without Sexton and a few injuries. He's been consistent, right? You're gonna have one of those a year. What I'm not too keen on is Jimmy Butler. He has a lot of injuries this year. He's been out of the lineup, but every time he's in the lineup, he's been very productive. At one point in time, the Heat was in first place over your Brooklyn Nets, but we'll get into that a little out. But I am not sold on Chris Middleton. I'm not seeing his production from last year coming off a championship season. And the Bucks have been a little bit up and down with the COVID and inconsistent. I'm not too sure if I would put Chris Middleton in there. And Fred VanVleet is a surprise to me. Toronto is probably at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, and having a representation of somebody from the Toronto Raptors was surprising.
Seventh.
Mm-hmm. Whoa. Mm-hmm. So things have changed in the past week, right? So, but obviously that's the case. But if you want to tell me to put somebody, I will put in. There has to be somebody from the Charlotte Hornets represented in the All-Star game. Why? They're top 5 in the league right now, right? Ready? Or top 8?
No, they're behind the Raptors. They're behind the Raptors. They're 8th.
They're 8th. Right. Miles Bridges is having a most improved player. He probably is the most improved player of the year.
God bless.
Without a doubt.
God bless.
LaMelo Ball should be considered for an All-Star. If you're gonna put anybody a representation of that leading guard, he's almost damn near averaging below triple-double numbers, 17, 7, and 7.
Let me try this. Just get straight to it. Cut right
What
to
you
it.
gonna do? Fred VanVleet average 20 points a game?
No.
What is
Who
it?
you taking off? Who you taking off from the East? Now, if you want to take off Chris, I understand.
I take off Chris
You want to
Middleton.
take off? If you would take off Chris, you would take off Jimmy. All right, But if obviously Chris Middleton played the whole season, played very well, it's clear that the coaches and whoever votes the bench team, the bench mob, they feel like Chris Middleton is more consistent.
Is it your turn? I'm sorry. Is it your turn? Thank you. Anyway, like I was saying, I agree, and also I would have put Jaylen Brown in there. I think Jaylen Brown is having a just as last year, 20 points a game, 5 and 7, decent numbers, right? You could drink your Red Bull. Shouts to Red Bull. You could drink your Red Bull. I'm just saying who you. Okay, now let's pass the buck to you. Who are you passing? Who are you taking on this list? I'm good with Zach LaVine. I'm actually good with Jimmy Butler. Because whenever he's on the floor, he's a triple-double threat. Especially with Lowry out the games for most of the season, he's been consistent, right? James Harden, I'll let you speak on that man right there. But while Kyrie was out, he held down the fort with Durant, so I can see that.
And we're all good with Tatum. We're all good with Tatum.
I'm all good with Tatum. Solid. Yeah. Tatum is solid. But I'm not saying Fred VanVleet can't be an all-star. I'm nobody. I'm saying if from what I watch, I see LaMelo Ball or Miles Bridges if you want to give it an opportunity, but I think it's too early for him. I would have seen Jaylen Brown come out of that situation. And after that, I'm good with everybody else. Who you see different?
Denny Blanco.
Thank you for giving me the floor. You had me. The East Coast. You had me. No, they're fine. I think everybody in the East is fine. Shout out to Fred VanVleet. You know what's important is to understand it starts from the tip. Starts from the very first game. So when I say that, I'm pointing to Fred VanVleet and I'm pointing to Darius Garland.
Okay.
From the tip of the season, they've been balling. Period. Now, you speak to other folks. James Harden. Roller coaster.
Up and down.
Roller coaster.
Okay.
He's all over the place. So if he didn't make the All-Star team, I would have understood. But you know what I'm saying? When you average a close to a triple-double, I understand why they put him up there. So to close this very quickly, I agree with everything that they pulled. Jason Tatum making it definitely an all-star in the East. So I'll concede if LaMelo Ball had made it, would have definitely been Chris Middleton's spot based on Chris Middleton not being consistent all year versus Ball, who's been the same from the beginning of the tip. So yes, the East is okay. So far, so good.
So I think for me, to your point, where you said, it's from tip ball, right?
Okay. Randy, can I jump in real quick? I'm sorry. I just have to tell him this. If I tell you these numbers, are these all-star numbers?
From who?
I'm just going to tell you some numbers. 19.9. Hold on. 19.9, 7.2, 7.7.
1977.
Are those all-star numbers?
19.9,
7, and if you want to round it up, 8. Yeah, those all-star numbers?
Yeah, 7 and 8. Possibly, absolutely.
And you're a top 8 team in the East.
And you're a top 8 team. And those are numbers from LaMelo Ball.
And I say possibly.
Who couldn't be played point guard, who all these doubters had, who's not better than Alonzo Ball, taking the Charlotte Hornets, who was top 4 in the East for the first, just like your team was first place. That's the reason why Harden got those votes. Because y'all's first place for a few. Now that Miami Heat was first, and now you're what, 6th place now? We'll get into that conversation. But I'm proud of you to say that James Harden was up and down this season, because I agree with you on that. And you know what? I kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt because at some point in time, Denny, and I'm being real, they were the top team for like 2-3 weeks, and at some point in time, Harden was really holding the fort down with Durant at times. So I will give you that. That's why I said, you know what, Harden is cool, because at the end of the day, he had a couple triple-doubles, had a couple double-doubles. He was holding the fort down, 17 assists against the Lakers. He was consistent. But I'm saying, if we're talking about being consistent, I don't see Chris Middleton being that consistent this year as he was last year. I think Fred VanVleet, for me, I don't watch that Toronto as much because of the network and who they play. There's no fans.
And it's just cracked the Knicks a couple times.
Right. But I know.
Hey, be careful. Be careful.
I know he's been consistent, and I will give you that. So I'm okay with Fred VanVleet. I know he could play. I just say if you want to bring somebody, I would say either Jaylen Brown or LaMelo Ball in that conversation for one spot. So
Randy, you gonna
take
say
a leave
sorry.
So what I was going to say earlier when Denny mentioned from tip ball, you've seen Garland play well from day one. You've seen VanVleet from day one.
No
If I
rest.
vouch for anybody, because Toronto just got to number 7 just in the last week or so. Charlotte was in the top 4, top 5 for a hot minute.
They dropped.
And then they were balling. So even Miles Bridges was balling from day one. And we had him as a most improved player. So at one point, he's averaging 22, 24 a game. Now he's down to 2019. I'm like, okay. Last year, Randall was most improved player and all-star. Made the playoffs, right? So I thought Miles Bridges was in line to be most improved, all-star, and a possible playoff berth. So now, when you trying to pick out a Eastern Conference reserves, for me, Middleton, I'm not saying they're not playing at an all-star level or they're terrible, but I think I would have put in Miles over a Middleton. I would have put – does 2 Hornets make it? Probably not.
No.
But by the numbers, I think LaMelo gets them over Bridges.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
And it's an all-star game. You want the highlights, the flash, the flare. I think LaMelo would get it. The thing is, Kevin Durant's not going to play. So now it's kind of like, all right, who's going to be the replacement? Because there are people saying Jarrett Allen should be up there. Obviously, Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball. So I'm just saying that you're going to get someone's not going to be happy. And this is what it comes down to. But if I'm vouching Miles or LaMelo, I see Jaylen Brown's argument. But it's like, again, everybody can't make the fucking all-star team. So you just got to pick with who you got. And I think it's a COVID year, a lot of injuries. So it's a little weird up and down. But
if the NBA's paying attention, the NBA's paying attention. They want an exciting all-star game. they better bring on LaMelo Ball.
But then why not put LaMelo Ball already in the game to begin with?
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying because Kevin Durant's hurt.
Right.
Slide him in that slot. Call it.
And it happened last year. The last 2 years, we've been seeing the elevation of Devin Booker, and he's a 2-time All-Star, but both times he got to be a replacement, which is like how is that even possible? So even the Western Conference don't get it right, but that's how it is.
The West right now.
Oh wait, hold up. So are we done with the East? So we're saying that.
I just want to make a note on the East too, right? It just bewilders me sometimes that Philly's always consistent on the East and only gets one All-Star. Like there's nobody else on that team that can stand out for an All-Star. Maybe
it was Ben Simmons
Harris.
the last couple of years.
It was Ben.
That is true. That is true.
It was Ben. So
I take it back. That's true.
Yeah. As
But
Ben,
even their record is 31-20, and I mean, there's not a second player in that team right now that could be an All-Star.
No.
I mean, they put Draymond Green on the freaking All-Star team. I don't,
Draymond Green. There's nobody on the Philly that plays like Draymond Green.
Okay.
And look at the Warriors' record without Draymond. Now I know the numbers don't spat out like 15 a game, 8 a game, 8.
No, the concept is this. He's I call it the Jason Kidd effect. And for those little babies and little babies, Google Jason Kidd. He can give you 5 points, 5 assists, 5 steals, and control the whole game.
Before we go to the West, I just looking at this Eastern Conference standings. It's literally competitive as hell, man. Like
no,
it's not like great
Every
basketball like winnings, but it's like every game you could be from first to like 6. Like it's like that's how competitive. Like there's a 3-game difference between the first seed to the 6th seed. That's crazy.
And then from the 7th seed,
yeah, man, yeah.
From 6 through 12, it's like you go on a 3-game losing streak, you might be out. You go on a 3-game win streak, you might be top 3.
Yeah, so the Nets will make the playoffs.
If the playoffs were today, they would have a legit spot. Those who are trying to, be that playing game, that's Toronto, Charlotte, Boston, Atlanta. Looking in of that is Washington and New York.
If the playoffs started right, if the playoffs,
New York is 12.
Don't even. The playoffs started today. The Nets would play.
It'll be 6. There'll be 6. They'll play
Philly.
They'll be playing Philly and getting bounced in the first round.
Now with a healthy KD.
Now with everybody healthy.
And you got road games with Kyrie.
I'm not putting money on everyone being healthy. I'm not. At this point, have you seen what the Nets have been going through this whole year? And you want to put money on it? They're all going to be healthy at the same time?
And then what?
When the money's right. I'm sorry, Ryan.
And then you will have a nice little matchup between Milwaukee and the Cavaliers.
I mean, Milwaukee's winning that.
No, so I think it'll be a little competitive, but
I think 4-2.
If Brooklyn is healthy, Harden, Kyrie, KD, if they don't make a little tweener deal trade deadline, I can see them beating Philly in the first round if it happens to go that way.
It'll go 7 for sure. Let's go to the West Coast.
All right, Western Conference: Luka, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Draymond Green, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. And Draymond will not be playing, so we got to get a replacement for him. I think it's pretty solid.
Yes, the West, and I'll pass it off to you, Joe. I'll go first this time. We'll swap. Listen, it's something about Devin Booker not starting, but Ja Morant is Ja Morant and Steph Curry, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, what are you gonna do with that? You know, and then who's my 3 in the West?
You got Mitchell, you got Gobert, Towns.
Oh yeah, well that's off the bench. It's my starters. My starters is
you got 5 guards off the bench, and
Donovan Mitchell. To be honest, Donovan Mitchell hasn't. I don't even think he's been in this. He's been playing that much.
I think he missed the
last 11 games. Yeah,
concussion. Yeah, he's been out for a little bit. And then you look at Karl Anthony Towns was legit. Draymond's going to be replaced. Who he's going to be replaced with? He said he's not playing an All-Star game.
Right.
So who he may be replaced with, I don't know. What you think, Joe? Talk to him.
I agree with this. I don't really have too many changes on this. I think that they did well with this. I think that everybody that was consistent on that end was able to be represented on the West. I think Luka's having a solid year, even though Dallas is underperforming. I mean, even though they're in the playoffs, but to that level, Booker's should be a guaranteed starter.
I wouldn't have minded, Joe. I wouldn't have minded if they didn't include Andrew Wiggins and started Book. I wouldn't have minded that.
And you know what? I would have took. I mean, people have been baiting on Andrew Wiggins for the past 2 weeks. I would even, if you want to represent 3 All-Stars, you had to. I would have put him on the bench and let Booker start.
Right.
I'll give you that because you earned that. Like you got the votes, and you're a top seed in the West, or one of the top 3. Got you right. We've had a few of those. I like Cat's having a big year. Mitchell, who's been out the last 11, but before that, he was I think the Utah was top 3 in the West before they had the 9-game skid. Draymond for me is it's those utility belt kind of picks, and I get it. You gotta fill the stat sheet and do the dirty work, and you gotta recognize that. Me, Dennis and Randy, I'm not a Gobert fan. I don't think he has all-star skills, right? So
no, he don't.
I don't think he has like. I don't know. I think because you have to put him, and I hate that kind of. I don't like that to be said, but
you don't have.
He doesn't stand out for me.
That's the thing. Like, I don't. You don't have to put Rudy Gobert because we already have centers, right? You have Joker, and then you have Karl Anthony Towns
and Towns.
You don't.
But I would feel.
No, go.
No. I don't feel, but I feel like I would have had today because I wanted to mention that the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the league, and if DeAndre Ayton wasn't hurt, what do you think about him replacing Rudy Gobert?
Perfect.
That's my point, right? So
I don't know.
Perfect.
DeAndre Ayton has.
Again, and I think it's hard to not put a guy like Gobert when he's getting 16, 15, and 2 blocks on a top 4 team in the West. It's just like I know it's not the most pizzazz, but that's what Duncan was getting in San Antonio.
And Duncan would destroy Gobert. And Duncan would destroy Gobert.
I know, but Duncan was not the flashiest player.
right.
And Duncan would destroy Gobert.
I
He
understand.
agrees. He agrees.
No, I'm just saying, it's like
understand
we're highlighting Gobert because he's a top defensive player. I get it, but in terms of an all-star, and then he's not an all-star player. He's a great role player that's glorified. And I'm not taking away his skill sets, and that he's on the right team. You put him on the right team, you're gonna get that result. And he got the right team. I'm not taking away from that. He is effective, and he's got way better. But for an all-star game, for an all-star to represent, to kind of put him, I just feel there's other players that could have done him. But I'm okay with it because of the record and what they were doing before the injuries and before COVID hit. So I'm just not a big Gobert fan.
Randy, before we move on to the next topic, I just want to also make note of this particular point also too. Defense, okay? Defensive player of the year for me. Defensive player of the year for me has to guard 5 positions. 5. What I mean by guard is Draymond Green guards 5 positions. Kawhi Leonard, 4.
Mm-hmm.
You have guys that can,
Giannis, 5.
Pure. He can guard
LeBron.
George.
LeBron. Your Paul
George.
4. You know what I'm saying? LeBron, 5. See, these are defensive players of the year candidates. Shout out to Patrick Beverly for those who may hate him, but he makes a great point. You can't be defensive player guarding 1 position. That's ridiculous. Randy.
Even Mikal Bridges be guarding multiple players, and he's a tough defender.
Very tough.
Very tough. Like he guarded last night, Trae Young. I mean, obviously, he can't take full blame, but willing to guard him for all game. It's hard. It's a hard guard for 48 minutes to guard Trae. So I mean,
100%.
Shouts to Mikal.
LaMelo said, "I want no parts."
So with Draymond being out, who do you see replacing Draymond? Who was out there that you feel could take on that role
in the West,
or should be in that conversation? Because from what I see on in Twitter land, it's going to come down to Jaren Jackson from Memphis. We know how their year is going.
I like him.
DeJounte Murray from San Antonio.
I like him.
I like him a lot.
I don't see no Lakers, no Russell, no AD.
Yeah, if you mention those,
there's no Sacramento.
Those two, I would put DeJounte in. Absolutely, he's been doing it since tip.
Yeah. He's a semi-walking triple-double.
Yeah, he's the only positive from San Antonio right now at this point.
With limited resources and limited options.
Yeah, he's the only option in San Antonio. So
and Jaren Jackson, 17 and 6, one steal, one assist, two blocks.
He's gonna have the record, so that's gonna be tough to not let him in. Yeah.
Anthony Edwards also.
I don't know if they're gonna get two all-stars on that before Jaren Jackson with the Grizzlies.
Yeah, not from 7th seed. No,
Clippers.
I think those are good. I think No,
not at all. I think the West got it legit. I mean, don't get me wrong. The injuries helped it out a lot. The injuries helped. You know what I'm saying? Dame is out. You got a lot of people out that made it easier.
McCollum was out.
Because if these folks were healthy, you're gonna have a problem. Chris Paul may not have made it.
There's no more Denver Nuggets All-Stars. There's no second Denver Nugget. There's no second Dallas Maverick.
If Jamal Murray was playing, you got to understand. There's a lot of people out in the West.
I still think CP3 makes it, even if Dame and Murray was. I mean, you're a top 1 seed in the whole Western Conference and NBA.
That's the conversation. So if Dame is healthy, are they the number 1 seed? And is he performing at an all-star level? Those are the 2 questions. Joe. I
mean, the only person I would pick, and not because of record, because when I say his name, it's not going to reflect the record. But if you're going to talk about all-star, I would go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's having a solid year.
He's been playing
having
real good this year. Yeah. I like that.
I'll put those 3 players because everything besides. Because, like I said, Clippers, there's no second-tier person. Lakers, we already know what that is. Portland is dismantled. Pelicans don't got a shot. Right? The Spurs, Murray for sure. Kings, no way. OKC, Shai Gilgeous, and the Rockets is not it right now. No, Christian
Nah.
Wood probably the only one, but we're not gonna get that far. But I
DeJounte
would say
Murray,
DeJounte Murray.
29-9.
I just told you he's a walking trip dub.
On a team that with no resources.
29-9 with 2 steals.
Hey yo, where is the trade deadline? It's next week,
Yeah.
bro.
Talk about trade, talk
San
about
Antonio
trade
ain't giving
deadline.
him up. They ain't giving him up. San Antonio.
Hey, Randy.
You know the package got to be the package. Go ahead, Joe.
Let me ask you guys a question. How you feel about? I know trade deadline's coming. I know Randy and I have been talking about some potential trades, and this goes to you. Would you trade straight up Ben Simmons for James Harden?
You
Is it
asking
who
me?
you want?
You
Yeah,
asking me.
or Kyrie straight
Yeah,
up for Ben Simmons?
Yeah, we've had this. Me and Randy had this conversation a couple weeks ago. We've been having it back and forth, and I said the only not straight up, no, because again,
okay.
So it's 2. You said Kyrie, Ben, and then you said James and Ben.
Right, and
James,
there's a few other that was floating out there, but I want to see what's the better fit for Ben.
James is an MVP. Was a former MVP. Ben wasn't. So you have to match that. The package I was telling Joe was, I said, if I'm the Nets.
Right.
I'm the Nets and I want to hear a package. I'm going to listen to a package of James for Ben, Tobias, and Maxey. I'll listen for that because James is a walking triple-double and he's a former MVP. Why are we getting a 1-for-1? Ben is not an MVP. You dig me? So I'm just like, no,
Gotcha.
that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
I mean, there was other ones, him going to Indiana for Domantas Sabonis and somebody else. I mean, there's a bunch of like futuristic. It's just so funny how Ben Simmons and I was telling Randy how Ben Simmons and Zion don't get any conversation about where they at this year. Like Zion has been like a name that doesn't really pop up at all.
I spoke to Randy.
Grail.
We've been going back and forth about this. Number one, I
Yeah.
told Randy, I said, number one, Ben isn't playing this year because Daryl Morey, he's not
Right. He's not having that.
He's not having that. He's not playing this year. Then you listen, guys. It's about the package. It's about what's going to make sense for other teams, and these trades aren't going to happen unless it makes sense for both teams, not just one.
Okay. All right. My forehand, go ahead.
No, so good.
No.
So prediction: DeJounte Murray takes Draymond's spot, or Jaren Jackson?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we call Jaren Jackson because it makes sense with him coming from the Grizzlies and him averaging the numbers. It wouldn't make sense picking DeJounte, even though DeJounte has a number. Or shot from OKC.
I agree with both of you guys. I think that safe bet is to go Jaren Jackson, but if they go outside that, I will go Murray then Shea, because Shea's out for the last 5 games, so I will go with DeAndre. But definitely Jaren Jackson Jr. for sure.
All right. So next we got, I think next week we will find out who is going to participate in all the activities for All-Star Saturday. But we do know, Denny Blanco, I know we mentioned it last week about the slam dunk contest. We got some, good feedback about that. So we do have 4 people in it right now. I think it's only going to be 4. I know we wish for Jaws and the Ant-Mans and Zachs and all, but we have quite a few guys who I think is going to show out on All-Star Saturday. A couple of guys that we know personally. Joe, I'm not sure if you know, but in the dunk contest, we have Jalen Green, Cole Anthony, Obi Toppin, and Juan Toscano Anderson. That's what we got. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, you thought I was joking. Who's won? From what team?
From the Warriors.
All right.
Juan Toscano Anderson, Cole Anthony, Obi Toppin. This guy, Jalen Green.
He said, "Who?"
Come on, bro. Like, I mean, am I bugging? Because when you hear slam dunks, come on, man. What are we doing out here?
It's in the game, baby.
That's what we got.
We're not even getting big names for this shit. It's pissing me off, bro.
That's crazy. That was
and
a bad lineup,
no disrespect to my brother. No disrespect to my brother. But I mean, goddamn, yo. If I was Thanos, let's snap my goddamn fingers. LeBron, you in that bitch. Zach LaVine,
no,
you in that bitch.
He ain't got to.
No, but he's snapping his fingers.
I'm talking about if I'm Thanos.
Oh yeah, if I'm magic
Thanos,
wand,
if I'm Thanos and I want to have the highest entertainment value, LeBron, Zach, you got to be in it. to go
Well,
against
first
the
of
young
all,
boys.
Toscano Anderson should not even be on that. It should at least get Kuminga. At least
So,
Kuminga
okay.
got some dunks.
All right. So when I
Like,
said who,
you know,
it made sense. Thank you, Jesus.
yeah,
I thought I was bugging because I'm like, who?
I don't
Like,
even see him
wait.
play like that to get dunks. I don't.
So
But to sake of conversation, those four aren't the best four that I would pick out for slam dunk. But knowing 2 or 3 people off that roster, like I root for Cole Anthony, I root for Obi. The other one was
both New York
Toscano,
guys. So
and the other one was who, man? Toscano and
Jalen Green.
right.
That
So
could
I
be
mean,
interesting.
if you want me to
Jalen
go
Green,
pick
Houston.
one right now, I'm gonna go with Jalen Green just because his bunnies
Jalen
are
Green.
crazy.
No.
And he reminds me of like a young Zach LaVine with no care in the world. So I'm gonna go with him. Obi is a solid second because I know he experienced what he experienced last year. So I'm assuming he got something in his bag. Cole Anthony got some bunnies. So I mean, if you want to see young talent, yes. If you want to see perennial dunk artists, that's John Morant. That's Anthony Edwards. That's Miles Bridges. And you can throw whoever you want in there. You can throw whoever you want in there after that. After those people, he was at Levine.
You know what I mean? Like you already got like 18 ESPN dunks of the year, Miles.
Yep.
And you like, nah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro.
That's a crazy line. I don't even know how to formulate that.
Why am I going to be in Cleveland in February? I can go vacation for a hot week.
Let me answer that. Miles. Let me answer that because you're watching right now. Let me answer that.
I'm paying you to be there.
Well, because wait. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. Does the dunk contest not? I mean, do you do that for free?
No, you get.
Don't you get a bonus? Don't you? Okay, so you're getting a bonus. Number one. Number two. Don't you want to be called the best dunker in the league? Like, I mean, you have the best 3-point shooter. You have the best free throw shooter. You have the best rebounder. You have the guy who steals the most. Why don't you become the best? Be the best dunker that year. I'm the best dunker for that year. Here's my trophy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. That I don't know how that formula comes about. I think that what Randy said, I think out of those, I'm going Jalen Green and
Jalen Green, young bunnies. You go with the young legs.
I would go Jalen Green.
I would say obviously because that's my guy. I'm gonna go Obi number one. But I would say don't sleep on Cole Anthony winning.
I agree.
Does have bunnies and you're looking for a guy to show out. And I know that the Orlando Magic is not really getting at the pub and being on TNT and ESPN and stuff like that, national television. But if there's one guy that's gonna make you want to watch the Magic, you know what I'm saying? It's just like Aaron Gordon when he was with the Magic back then. Oh shit, maybe I want to see more of the Magic now because they got this guy on the roster. So Cole Anthony does have the bunnies. I've seen him in the gym a couple times and just doing wild dunks. And for his height, it's like, oh shit. So
about 6'3". Yeah.
Don't sleep on him. Don't rule him out. Obi does have the height, had the experience from last year. I'm surprised. Simons didn't even say I want to come back to defend the championship. At least could have had him in there, but I guess regardless, we'll have a new champion. Jalen Green should really show out. So that's who we got. Now, if more comes after, I doubt it. But right now, we're looking at those four.
Let's take those four and call it a day and see what transpires at this point. I mean, god damn.
I agree.
We're not getting no entertainment.
We
value
deserve better than that.
Yeah, no entertainment value. No entertainment value. I was glued to my screen when Aaron Gordon got hoodwinked and bamboozled twice. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen, and that was a long time ago. Feels like it, but before that, it was even longer.
So you think Gordon got bamboozled twice?
Wait, Gordon didn't win either dunk contest, correct?
No, he didn't. No.
He should have won the first one.
I think he should have won the last one.
Yeah, there you go. So just, I mean, we both say the same thing.
But I'm saying, what makes you think he should have beat Levine in 16?
The first one was it the first one when he used the first one was when he used the puff, right?
The mascot, yeah.
The first one,
yeah.
What makes me think when he lifted his legs in the air? Okay. Like this. His legs were like this in the air.
Like he sat down in the air.
He took a poopy. with his legs midair, jumped over the mascot
and reversed that. Boom.
And reversed. I said, okay.
With the left.
Okay.
Okay.
I said, okay. Cute.
I got you. I heard you loud and clear.
Right. And then he told Puff to spin.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro.
Okay.
Okay. Why?
And this is where we play advocate. We go back and forth. So
back and forth.
Great dunks by Aaron Gordon. You know, people could say that was the best dunk contest or
Ever.
Jordan and Dominique. We go back and forth.
Combo. Mm-hmm.
Zach LaVine said, "Oh, okay, hold my beer. I'm gonna jump from the free throw line and put it between my legs from the free throw line."
We haven't seen that. It's cute. It was cute. I enjoyed it.
Yo, come on, brother.
Cute. I enjoyed it.
Let me tell you something. You can get one off for Aaron Gordon. You're not gonna get both because that LaVine destroyed. Both
and your man Zach went
after that, though.
He threw the lob between the legs, left hand from behind the backboard. I mean, it's tough. Listen, that could have gone either way.
He's 6'7".
But when you jump from the foul line,
Aaron Gordon 6'10".
Like
when you put it between your legs from the foul line, bro, none of us can do that.
He's retarded. Come on. He's a video game. And that was when he was in Minnesota. That was Minnesota bunnies. He still got bunnies. So yeah, I mean that was a classic, man. That was I thought that was a resurgence of the NBA slam dunk contest. And I agree with Denny Blanco that to kind of get there after a long hiatus, and then now you put us back in the hiatus and you get us these four contestants that are having we're probably having one of the best NBA years to date. Like seriously, if you look at these standings 100%. And these talent, the parity, you know, the up and down, the COVID, the 10-day contracts, like it is. Everybody has the same playing field, and you know it's like look, the Grizzlies are 36-18. Are you kidding me? Like who thought that, right? And who thought John Moran was going to be this kind of a budding star? So like just seeing storyline, those kind of narratives, this is the kind of year for that. And then for us to get that kind of slam dunk contest, it's a little bit disappointing.
These things happen, Randy. When you talk about Memphis, nobody would have called those things, but you see the tea leaves. So, for example, when you saw Phoenix go 6-0 in the bubble, you knew the next year they were going to be a problem because they found something. Yeah. When Memphis lost to Utah in the playoffs, they found something.
And they beat the Warriors, I think, in the playing game, I think so.
I'll double check. They found something, and Ja was averaging, I think, 30
without Jaren Jackson.
So I knew when they came back this year, if they started getting these players back, and Dylan Brooks is still out. Dylan Brooks is still out, and they're still like number 3. So when Dylan Brooks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dylan Brooks is their best wing defender. He's their best wing defender. So you add him,
and he could score.
There you go. You add him. You brought up Bane. You got Jax. Then you got the dude. You got Steve Adams.
What's up with Bane? Where did Bane come from? Like he's
out of nowhere, bro.
And you still got slow-mo. There.
I love me head. That's his
Kyle.
Kyle Anderson, right?
Yeah,
Kyle Anderson. And then you got Steven Adams setting brick screens for Ja. How do you work with that, right? You got Steven Adams setting bricks. When's the last time you seen Steven Adams get a call for a legal screen?
Nah, Memphis. So real quick, I know we did the East before. We said, all right, if you're 3-6 right now at playoffs, who would you get? Right now, if it started today, right now, I know it's going to change. You would get Utah and the Mavericks at 4 and 5, and you would get Memphis at 3, Denver at 6.
Nasty. I'll tell you one thing.
That might go 7. If you get Murray back?
No, I don't think Murray's going to be back this year. I doubt he'll be back this year. If he is,
I
don't know. Obviously, I don't know how thorough he's going to be. Shout out to Klay Thompson. Looks like he's starting to pick up his rhythm. Shout out to Sacramento. You need to send Sacramento into town every time to get Klay a little hot, so he knows where he's at. You know what I mean? He hates Sacramento.
My last 2 points. I'm gonna get to your Brooklyn Nets in a hot second, but
you don't have to. We can go to your Knicks.
Obviously, that's where I'm going. Obviously, when you go through Twitter, you see trade scenarios and rumors. So I saw the ESPN Bobby Marks joint. Again, nothing's in stone. Nothing's happening. But he said he would like to see some sort of a Ben Simmons for Jaylen Brown kind of trade. And obviously with the Knicks, he would like to see Russell Westbrook to New York. Going to LA will be Kemba Fournier and Alec Burks. So you know me, I say, hey, Knicks fans, what do you think? And I'm getting a whole bunch of up and downs. I love it. I hate it. I don't want to Russ. And I don't think LA would trade Westbrook at all. I think he stays. But I said, all right, would you guys entertain it? Would you? Plus, he has 1 year left at $47 million.
Half $100.
So, but then I'm thinking like, okay, let me entertain it. If you get Westbrook here, there's Westbrook, there's Randall, there's Mitchell, there's RJ, there's Obi, there's Quickly, there's D Rose, there's Grimes, Taj. LA gets shooters that they're looking for. Is it a win-win, or do Knicks fans say keep me away from Russell Westbrook? What do you think about that?
First and foremost, Randy, you guys don't Knicks. You guys don't need Russell. You need a pass first point guard who's going to take care of the ball. The Knicks need a pass first point guard who's going to take care of the ball. Russell Westbrook is not a pass first point guard, nor does he take care of the ball. Terrible.
How about a scoring point guard? How about listen? I'm not saying go trade him tomorrow, but
look. They got De'Aaron Fox sitting up in Sacramento.
I would go get him.
You got De'Aaron Fox sitting over in Sacramento begging to leave. Begging.
Yeah, the Knicks don't want to give the young guys up. That's the whole thing. If
what's funny.
Knicks is saying if all I got to give up is Kemba Fournier and Burks.
Here's what's funny. You don't want to give up the young guys, but you're not playing them.
I agree.
You don't want to give up the young guys, but you're not playing them? How you play Obi Toppin 6 minutes last game? 8 minutes at that.
How about this?
I don't
trade for you. How about this? You trade for Cam Reddish that hasn't played yet. That's the reason why I don't really.
Is he hurt?
Why I don't really. And
that's why that kind of trade for the Lakers, if it happens, that kind of trade frees up the roster spots for these guys to play. The Grimes, the Reddishes, all these guys, they got to play.
I agree completely in terms of what you're saying. The package deal, I disagree with completely. I am praying for the Knicks fans' sake before next week, which is the 10th. I don't know what day that is. I think it's a Wednesday or Thursday.
They got to do something.
I pray that they don't stand pat. I pray for you guys you don't stand pat. Hey, Denny Blanco, the NBA Whisperer, the Jedi Master of Sports Analysis. I was the one that told you to be maybe 20 games in. I told that jerk face right here on the other side of me. I told him, I said, you need to change your starting lineup.
Who, me? Damn.
I told you 20 games in because we're going on the quarters. I said the first quarter, there was like conversation like, oh, well, we need to wait. We need to see if there's a rhythm. There's no practice.
Right. That's right.
40 games in. Nothing's changed, bro. So either it's the players or it's the coaching or it's both, and you need to address both.
I think the issue is, one, D Rose got hurt. Two, they don't play the young guys long enough. They play the starters too long. Tibbs kind of has a hard time adapting to what the NBA is nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So it's
you know what's funny?
Listen, it worked last year because obviously last year was different.
You know what's funny? I would love to see a starting lineup of Quickly, Grimes, RJ Barrett, Randall, and Mitchell. Or give me Quickly, Grimes, RJ. Yeah. Because I'm trying to get Obi in. So if you put RJ at the 2, Randall at the 3, Obi at the 4, Mitchell at the 5.
Or you put Mitchell 5, Randall 4, Obi 3, RJ 2, and quickly at the 1.
Can I see a lineup starting like that?
I would watch that one. That sounds better. That sounds much better. I can't watch Randall play one-on-one. I can't. Let's talk about how they 12th place and they were 6 last year. What happened was the scouting report came out on them real fast. They have no go-to person. They have no consistency on the outside. Their point guard is in flux. They have no 2 guard. Their 4 thinks their best player who's their 4 thinks he's Lamar Odom. He can score every way he can and go one-on-one. He can't. And he can't play no defense. And he can't rebound.
Okay, so let me adjust.
It's a disaster. So
let me adjust a couple
you either
things.
play Obi or, like Randy said, you make moves to bring those young players to flourish under that system. Other than that,
there's a lot of hate going Randall's way, and I don't like it because there has to be a balance here. Okay, you can't put everything on Randall. Last year he was making all those shots he was taking this year. Same shots he's missing this year. So I'm addressing his offense. Number 2, when you're being doubled, and this is coming from me watching almost every game this season of the Knicks, at least one half. If you're being doubled and you kick out and guys aren't hitting shots, what do?
Oh, well, you have to go and force it, go one-on-one. You have to. I agree with. I'm not saying.
Okay. Well, let me chop it up some more, and then I'll pass it off to you. So I'm addressing everything. I'm addressing the offense. I'm addressing what happens when he gets doubled and he kicks out and nothing happens after that. That leads to frustration. That leads to you trying to do one-on-one and trying to do too much. Now, you mentioned defense. Let's go to defense now. Yes, Randall's not the greatest defender. Who's your best defensive wing on the Knicks?
RJ Barrett.
Okay, so you have technically one guy that can keep and Quentin Grimes on the bench. Obviously, you maybe have maybe 3 guys.
Cam Reddish if you play him.
We haven't seen yet, right? So we have about a couple of guys that can keep the people in front of them, right? You bring in a guy called Evan Fournier who's shooting 42% from 3 in the last couple of games, but plays no defense. So now you have 2 guys, Kemba Walker. You start both of them. Both your point guard and your 2 guard cannot stop their defender. They can't defend the people they're guarding. So what do you have? You have a litany of problems that everyone seems to be pointing to Randall when there are clearly other stuff on the table that needs to be resolved. The floor is yours.
I think that the difference of this year to last year is that you can tell that some players in Knicks made some improvement. RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson. And that you would think that coming off of a horrible series in Randall, you would adjust some of those things in your game to kind of make amends. And I don't think his game has transluted into that.
What do you
adjust? What I'm saying that last year he shot the 3 very well. He's not shooting the 3 very well as he did last year. No.
Same shots.
I think that example you said about getting a double team, last year he was getting rid of it early. And last year he had less shooters.
I've seen a couple of games he gets rid of it real quick, and I'm seeing Kemba miss shots. I'm seeing Evan Fournier miss shots. I'm seeing RJ Barrett miss shots.
I can't account for the miss shots.
And there's games he holds the ball too long.
Exactly.
It's both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you need forcing shots. You go one way all the time. You're not hitting the mid range like you used to. You're not being a triple threat or a dual threat. You kind of become more predictable as you was in LA. Like I don't want that Randall I wasn't a fan of. This last year's Randall had a plethora of moves that you couldn't really guard. And at some points in time, I told Randall watching the game, I said, "Who is this guy? This guy looks really different. Like who is this? Like this looks like a fucking." No, I said it's like a fucking hybrid Zach Randolph. Like what's going on here? And then this year I'm looking like you don't look like that. You look like Julius Randle from the Lakers. That when you was second guessing yourself, you was forcing it. You was trying to kind of follow from last year being an all-star. Kind of felt things a little forced for you. So. But I think I honestly wouldn't miss a conversation, and I don't be long-winded. I think the Knicks have a lot of other issues to address. Player personnel, rotation, coaching, motivation. I get it. I didn't think they're too logjam in 2 different of the same position. And I think that they need they have a lot of forwards, a lot of.
And Tim plays Randall too much. So it's like you can't be the all-star player and play 40, 45 minutes a game. I mean,
Randy,
Randall's not AI.
Randy, are you shocked?
About what?
Are you shocked that Tom Thibodeau is playing one of his players too much minutes?
No, that's what he was doing in Chicago. So I'm used to it. Jimmy Butler, D Rose, Taj,
and Denny was the one that told you what.
And I've told other people, like, listen, I'm a big Obi fan. I just want to play more to balance it out. Where Randall gets 25, 30 minutes and Obi gets 15, 20. You got to balance it out. Randall's out there. He's the number one option, getting 40 minutes a game. At that time, when I was saying this, the other guys weren't developed yet, but like now, Mitchell better developed, RJ Barrett better developed. I also want to say two things before. I'm sorry for interrupting. I also will say two things in terms of Randall. Number one, shout out. People have to understand too. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony. He asked to come to New York, stayed here for years, was only given a good team maybe 1 or 2 years out of the 7 or 8 that he was here. Didn't Randall take less money to stay here?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was because his play too.
And then Randall asked to come here. Look what happens when you ask to come play for New York. Look how they treat you after a year of bad service.
Well, he gave it right back to them. He gave it right back to them by doing all this, and then he 100%. Quickly went like he quickly changed his mind by doing this because he knew the New York media is too intense for that.
Yeah,
so
see,
you know what I'm saying?
See, that's another thing. I would if Randall's watching this right now, that's one thing I said. I can defend you, up until a certain point where you're ducking the media. Don't duck the media. No. Don't duck the media because Carmelo didn't duck the media at all.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's what fans are saying from a leadership a point of view aspect. Win or lose, get blown out, lose by 1. You gotta talk to the media after the game.
You're the guy.
You can't be like, yo, deuces, I'm out. Like then leave it for RJ and other guys to talk to them. It's like then you go on the court, you get frustrated. Then you're doing all this to the fans, and then they'll turn on you after they chanted your name MVP the whole last year. Like, what the fuck do we do?
12 months.
We're supporting you.
How we forgotten. All right, now give me a couple minutes on this. Give me a couple minutes on them.
All right, so Brooklyn, they lost 5 or 6, whatever in a row. They right now the 6th in the Eastern Conference. KD's still out after All-Star break. Kyrie still playing road games. Harden, Joe Harris might get a second surgery on the ankle, so he might be out for longer. I hear that just now. So what does Brooklyn do? What do they do?
Hey, listen, let me start by saying this. I don't wish no ill will to nobody. I don't wish no ill will on nobody, on my health. This is all fun and games. Like, I want to see everybody at full strength and full. 100%. I just think that they're just decimated by injuries and decimated by inconsistency of the roster, inconsistency of the rotation. Their main player got unfortunate injury that really put a little stall on his MVP campaign because he was first in MVP, and you could tell why he should be still because their team has not been successful without him in the lineup. And then I think I'll be real with you, man. I'm a Kyrie fan. I call him the Black Magic. I just think this is just too overwhelming for them to kind of to get through this season because of so many in and out of the roster and just the lineup changes and COVID is just so much. It's too unpredictable, and him not being a consistent figure on the roster. You can't mask those too long. Those are going to be exposed. And I think James Harden already mentioned that in terms of his frustration. So I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know how well it could last. I want it to last. Hopefully that the mandates change.
But you look depressed.
If this don't change soon, you might see Harden on Philly. You might see him on Philly.
Ladies and gentlemen,
because he might want to get out of here.
I'll address that last. Harden trade. I'll address that last. All right, guys. Look, as long as full disclosure.
I'm not panicking. No. I'm just saying you was first seed last week, and then now you're 6. So like we said earlier, that things change. But
I already know once KD comes back, all will be well for Brooklyn.
All be well.
Listen, I want to be perfectly clear. I want full disclosure. I am I'm not biased. I like to talk it straight down the line. I'm a straight shooter. Okay. I was an NBA fan for years. Never picked a team. Just love teams in general. Love the NBA as a soap opera. Okay.
Right.
Made fun of this guy over here. Or is it over here? It's over here. Over here. Made fun of this guy. Yeah, over here. Made fun of this guy for being a Knicks fan because of management taking advantage of him. Okay. He stuck through it. I decided as soon as James Harden joined the Nets, I decided to be a Nets fan. I said, this is the organization I can believe in. Top to bottom. Owner, GM, coaching.
Well, you told me when Kyrie and KD got there, you were a fan.
Solidified with James Harden.
Okay. So follow me. Now that I pick a team, look at what the F I'm going through. I deserve this.
Karma.
Karma. It's karma. I deserve this.
Exactly.
As soon as I jump on a team, Kyrie decides, you know what? COVID. I don't want to play at home. As soon as I jump on a team, Joe Harris said, you know what? Hurt ankle. As soon as I jump on a team, Katie says, you know what? I'm gonna play well, but get injured. I'm gonna be out for a couple of weeks. And
that was a freak accident. Freak
accident.
Yeah.
But the tip of the iceberg. What's sending the Titanic down? James Harden. Now I can say this about James because I'm just talking from a perspective of a fan. Number one, being a Nets fan. Number two, seeing what he did in Houston as an MVP. That Houston James Harden has not materialized consistently in Brooklyn yet, and I'm waiting. He may be playing. I told Randy he may be playing himself into shape, and he's finally playing himself into shape. He's finally in shape now. But look what happened. He has nobody to play with. Kevin's out. Harris is out. Kyrie plays only a part-time.
But real quick, to be fair, when James Harden got to Brooklyn, even still out of shape, that first 10, 15 games was like 8 was triple doubles. We're talking about James Harden, the out of shape, got injured.
He needs to make a point.
Player.
Yeah.
He was doing work once he got there.
He needs to make a point. I think that first 2 weeks was the FU 2 weeks. That was FU 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks he got to the Nets was like, y'all must have forgot. Let me remind y'all real quick why the Nets brought me here. Those are the first 2 weeks. After that, I already established that. I'm good. And now here we are. You mentioned, Joe, the Harden trade.
Yep.
Yes. Daryl Morey has it for James Harden. Absolutely. And will he make a package together for James Harden in the offseason because James wants to play free agency? Sure. We're going to listen. James isn't going anywhere. James is going to stay with Brooklyn. He wants to play with players that are wing players. Right. He's never played with a dominant center, and he never will. And that's what he'll be playing with if he goes down I-95 to play with your boy Joel Embiid, dominant center. So I don't foresee James traded. I foresee the Nets maybe getting down to the AC and fighting to stay in the playoffs.
Damn. I mean, I felt
you be chilling with us. You be chilling with us. Yeah. Keep sinking lower, brother. Keep sinking lower. Oh man.
It's crazy, man.
I think on that note, I don't know where else to go, but
it's
a very interesting conversation today. Love the banter with you guys. We could do it next week. That'd be great. I know the plan is to do an all-star mock draft with Denny and Coach Sam, which is available.
I'll submit my form whether I'm on the show or not. If I get a call back from Denny Blanco and his team to come back on the show, I'll still share my roster so you guys can talk about it offline if anything.
Yeah, because by that time we would know the replacement for the All-Star reserves. And we would know the lineup for All-Star Saturday. So that'll be fun. You can find Denny Blanco on both IG and Twitter at Sir Denny Blanco. You can find me on IG and Twitter at Randy J. Cruz, Rendy, the letter J, Cruz. Find Joe on Twitter at Hoops in the Sun and IG, also at J Cruz CEO. Find the podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, YouTube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Also on ballislife.com. Denny Blanco, Joe Cruz. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Ball is life.
Love you guys. It's in the game, baby.
That's
Yeah.